Another broken sword. Give me a second. There we do. And let's start it. I'm gonna little walk through. Just in case I get stuck. Hello, Miss Precious. How you doing? Thank you.
This must be the place. Professor Ubier's house.
Looks pretty creepy. I'd been away from Paris and hadn't seen Nico for nearly 6 months. I wanted to celebrate our reunion, but she had other plans. An appointment with an archaeologist. Something to do with a Mayan stone she came across while researching the story. The guy who answered the door didn't look much like an archaeologist to me.
It just
I have a bad feeling about this.
2-1 for me.
I glanced over the books, vaguely hoping to find a copy of How to Deal with Poisonous Spiders While Tied to a Chair. No such luck. But I noticed one corner of the bookcase was supported by a loose block of wood. The bookcase... Maybe I'd been a little heavy-handed, but it was a question of survival. Of course, I was still tied to a chair in a burning house with no means of escape. With one mighty bound, our hero was free. Now, I had to deal with that fire.
Hello, Ella. How you doing?
I wasn't touching that spider goo.
My day is going by. It just is a bit warm.
Inside, I found a bottle of tequila.
Can we take
Normally,
it?
I didn't drink strong spirits, but today was far from normal. Ew. Disgusting. Not only did the tequila burn like hell, I just managed to stop myself from swallowing the worm. In the drawer was a small decorated pot. That dart was sharper than a mosquito's business end. But this didn't deter me from getting it anyway. It was a stylish little canvas number containing a lipstick, a handwritten note, and a pair of nylon panties with a large love heart emblazoned across the front. It occurred to me that Nico's tastes must have really changed while I was away. Well, they could be useful.
Can I go over here?
I wasn't going to touch the box after that spider had been inside it. There was no pressure in the siphon. I guess it was out of gas. I racked my brains to think of a way to improvise a fire. If only I'd stopped for a coffee at the airport.
Mistake. Okay. And that over? No.
Nice couple. There was something short, fleshy, and gross on the carpet. It was the worm from the bottle of tequila. The projecting bracket had served. I had no time to sit up. The rope was shredded and no possible use to me.
I don't think so.
The cabinet was locked. There was no pressure in the siphon. I guess it was out of gas.
Hello, Scott.
As I released the lock, something blew the doors open. The cabinet was already open. That cylinder was hot. I couldn't pick it up with my bare hands.
Can you use it?
The panties I'd found in Nico's bag were just what I needed to wrap around the hot cylinder.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
The cylinder gave out a faint hiss as the valve opened. Huh? Now I had one primed up and ready to use extinguisher. With a well-aimed squirt of the soda fountain, our unshakable hero saved the day. Now it was time to start looking for Nico. I wasn't going to burn myself on that red-hot doorknob, and it wasn't the time for subtlety. I'd found a piece of newspaper folded in two. It referred to a forthcoming eclipse of the sun. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be visible from Europe. The best place to view the eclipse would be Mexico. The phone was no use to me. Apart from Nico, there was no one in Paris I wanted to call. I guess I had no business reading it, but I figured it was from Andre Lobineau, the history student Nico had known at college. The letter was sentimental mush, and revealed that the exotic lingerie, as he called it, was a gift from him. It gave his telephone number. Lobineau figured himself as a rival for Nico's affections, but I couldn't believe that that creep was in the running. It was the newspaper clipping referring to the imminent eclipse. Wrapped inside it was another small piece of paper. It was a bank statement for Ubier's account from an automatic telling machine. The last 5 withdrawals were for large amounts, and all made in Marseille. Much as I disliked him, Lobineau might be my only hope of finding Nico. Hi, Andre?
Who is this?
It's George Stobart, Nico's boyfriend.
Don't you mean ex-boyfriend?
Look, I didn't call you just to
I
pick a
didn't call
fight.
you
I
to-
need to talk to you about Nico.
It's going too
Can't you
fast.
accept she's just not interested in you?
Listen, Andre, we need to talk. Nico's life depends on it.
Okay. You remember the cafe at Montfaucon?
Sure. Andre? You better show, you creep. I felt an irrational urge to wipe my ear. The door was locked. I didn't fancy my chances of kicking this door down. It was locked. The front door was made of hard wood, supported by a sturdy frame.
Can you use it? If you are stuck, go to the basement. Okay.
The tiny point was only of use for picking small locks.
Lipstick. One. Get them up. Pin one. Must be in here somewhere.
The cabinet was already... I wasn't going to get through those sturdy bars.
Hello, Gamer Dad. Thank you for coming. How are you streaming today?
There was nothing else in the drawer.
No.
The bookcase had fallen on its front, making it impossible to reach the books inside. The photograph wasn't any use to me. Ubier and his wife, I guess. It was a closed drawer. The bureau contained Professor Ubier's tequila. The rope was... I had no further use for the... The projecting bracket... I wasn't gonna touch...
A chance to jump on before God live. Okay.
It was Ubi. There was no one...
I don't know. I was supposed to get a key in.
The front door was made of hard...
What's that?
There was nothing else in the... It was a closed...
Can I use this? No. Okay.
The bureau contained I'd drunk... There was nothing else. The pot contained a key.
Oh. Okay. Never mind. Can I hand it out to here?
I unlocked the door. I wasn't looking forward to meeting Labano again, but he was my only link with Nico. There was no sign of Labano when I got to the cafe. I decided to order a coffee and wait for him. Pardon me, but don't I know you?
Huh?
You were here the day I found the catacombs.
I was? Ah, yes. I remember you.
Yeah. Are you still in the police force?
No, not anymore. I'm a man of leisure. What brings you back to Paris?
My girlfriend.
What it is to be young and in love. When you share a bottle of wine with me.
Hey, listen, I'd love to, but I need to keep a clear head.
So my company isn't good enough for you.
I gotta just speak to him then.
Why did you leave the police?
I was forced to retire. The golden handshake. Only in my case, it was more copper than gold.
How come?
I was made a scapegoat to cover up the department's inefficiencies.
Have you ever heard of a Professor Oubier?
No, monsieur. I don't recall the name.
Well, apparently he's an expert on Mayan art and history.
A little out of my field of experience, monsieur. If he'd been a serial killer or a sodomite, I might have been able to help.
Tell me what you make of this note.
From my years of experience, I gained a pretty good insight into handwriting. I'd say that note was written by a compulsive, obsessive type with an Oedipus complex.
Hey, you got just about everything apart from the ponytail. I couldn't snatch the man's flask while he was looking. What's that you're drinking?
It's wine.
What do you make of this dart?
I remember a case where the victim was killed with just such a device. The poison acted in seconds, causing his body to swell up like an inflatable life raft.
What do you make of this news cutting?
Orphanage supplied fast food chain?
No, it's the article above that.
Oh! Total eclipse of the sun. Well, that's very dull in comparison. I don't know anything about eclipses.
It was too hot to sit inside the cafe. Besides, I might miss Labino. It was too hot to sit inside. The man was still... Oh, garçon. He ignored me. I'm sure it was deliberate. The man was... Hey, you.
Quoi?
I'd like a cup of coffee if you don't mind.
When I finish serving this gentleman. Un café.
Thanks. What does that guy keep pouring out of his flask?
Absinthe.
Absinthe? I thought that was highly dangerous and outlawed in France.
It is. Don't look at me, I didn't sell it to him.
Do you know a guy called André Lobineau?
Oui, I know him. What of it?
I'm supposed to meet him here. Did I miss him?
No, I have not seen him today.
Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Oui. He married that actress, the little dachshund. They used to come here. The nutty professor and the movie star.
If Oubier's wife was a movie star, how come I never heard of her?
She was big in France. The world doesn't stop at Hollywood. Her stage name was Carol Climax. She died in suspicious circumstances.
How did Oubier's wife die?
I heard he shot her.
And got away with it?
He had a good lawyer and a watertight alibi.
Why would an eminent public figure like Oubier risk everything for murder?
He wouldn't be the first, would he? Besides, people like him always get off.
Do you know that man over there?
I should think so. He's a regular customer.
Look at this. A poisoned dart.
Ah oui, sure.
It's the real thing. Knocked my girlfriend out cold in a matter of seconds.
Romantic. Sounds like a real close relationship you have going.
That's all.
Thank you.
Well, this is a surprise, Georgie.
I wouldn't normally call you. But Nico's in trouble, Andre. Deep trouble. You have to help me find her.
What? What have you dragged her into this time?
It was you that recommended Professor Oubier as an expert on Mayan art. Now his butler has kidnapped her. And he tried to kill me.
Every time she gets involved with you, there is trouble. Walking out on her was the best thing you could do.
My father was dying, damn it. I had no choice.
Well, she soon recovered once she went back to her old friends.
Drop it, Andre. Right now, Nico's in danger, and we have to work together.
So, how can I help?
Nico needed to speak to Oubier about a stone.
Oh, you mean this stone?
So that's what all the trouble's about.
Precisely. Nicole told me to guard it with my life.
Oh, it's worth more than that, surely.
Oh, very funny.
What's funny is that your life really is on the line.
What are you talking about?
The stone is a Mayan artifact, dummy, and the guy who kidnapped Nico was from Central America. It was the stone they were after.
Oh my god, you mean I could be in danger too?
What do you suppose the carving on the stone means?
I don't know. I haven't shown it to anyone.
Why don't you just give it to me?
I don't want your death on my conscience, George.
Where did Nico get the stone?
I'm not sure I should tell you.
Oh, you should.
It was something to do with smuggling.
Why didn't Nico take the stone to Ubier?
I don't know. Perhaps she suspected something like this would happen.
If she's been hurt, Andre, I'll break every bone in your body.
No, that's typical of you. Do you think I don't care what happens to Nicole?
It occurred to me that slugs don't have bones to break, but I kept that thought to myself. Tell me about your friend Ubier.
He's more of a professional acquaintance than a friend.
I see. So you don't really know him at all?
No, I don't.
Does Ubier employ a guy from Central America?
Maybe. I don't know.
What do you think this is, Andre?
I don't know.
I'll give you a clue. It's got more backbone than you.
You think you're amusing, don't you?
What can you tell me about this pot?
South or Central American, I'd say. I have a friend who'd be able to tell you more.
Where can I find this guy?
He owns a gallery on the left bank. The Gliese Gallery.
Take a look at this, Andre.
It's a bank statement.
Yeah, Professor Ubier's account. 5 large cash withdrawals in the space of 3 days. All from an automatic teller in Marseille. Suspicious, isn't it?
You're even more crazy than you were before.
See you later.
Goodbye, Georgie.
Mini bios.
I've had enough of your games, Kala. Tell me what you've done with my stone.
I thought your business was simply smuggling cocaine, Karzak. Why are you so interested in that stone?
Either you tell me what I want to know, or Pablo here will make you talk.
Okay. Well, I figured someone at the university would be able to help. So I had a word with one of my girlfriends, and she told me her boyfriend was a lecturer. I sent the stone to the Department of Ethnology. You know, I figured it was South American, so... You're not buying this, are you?
That's enough! I don't have time to listen to your mindless prattle. We'll leave you to think it over. Come the morning, you'll be ready to talk.
Okay,
I'm trying to find my girlfriend. She's been kidnapped.
Kidnapped?
Yeah, it was our first day back together after many months.
That's too bad. My God, that's depressing.
I grabbed the flask and was struck by a powerful smell of absinthe, a highly potent and illegal alcoholic drink. Excuse me.
What?
Do you miss being a gendarme?
Yes, of course I do. When I wore that uniform, I commanded respect. Not anymore.
Now I had another lead. I could either go back to Ubier's house or visit the Gliese Gallery. The Gliese Gallery had style and class, but very few customers. The pots were protected by a glass case. I couldn't believe it. The pots were marked at 5,000 francs each. As far as I could tell, the pots were almost identical to the one I'd found in Ubier's house. Hi, girls. What's the joke?
あなたはキレてですね。
Okay, fine.
Okay, fine.
The Wasteland. Too minimalistic for too much money. Are you Mr. Glees, the owner?
Good God, no.
Then I guess that must be him over there, right?
Your powers of deductive reasoning astound me.
Have you heard of Professor Ubier?
Yes, of course.
I was at his house earlier.
If you're going to drop names, you could at least name one worth dropping.
I thought Ubier was a well-respected man.
Why, his last book was nothing but pseudo-intellectual claptrap. The demented ramblings of a drug-dependent has-been.
What's that you're drinking?
I'm not sure, but I have a suspicion it might be urine. Glees can't expect a favorable criticism of his gallery when he serves this muck.
Would you give me your opinion on this pot, sir?
Yes. Very rapouche.
Rapouche?
Hideous.
What the hell do you think you're doing? What's the difference between my pot and all those other pots?
Yours is broken.
Why, you smug, pompous sloth.
Sticks and stones, dear boy, sticks and stones.
You smashed my pot.
Certainly, it was not only worthless, it was ugly and offensive.
To you, maybe.
Believe me, I was doing you a favor.
I wasn't going to waste any more breath talking to that pompous blimp. Maybe I could turn the situation to my advantage, and at the same time, get my revenge. The pot had smashed into too many pieces to retrieve. A valuable relic of an ancient civilization lay smashed on the floor.
Then we can speak to him.
I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Certainly, sir. I'd be most happy to oblige.
You're English?
These days, one prefers to think of oneself as European.
Sure. Whatever you say.
And how precisely may one assist you, sir?
What I really wanted to ask you about was a black stone.
A black stone?
Yeah, it's a Mayan artifact, about as big as my hand.
No, sir, one doesn't get much call for black stones. If it's Mayan artifacts you're interested in, I have some rather exquisite pots.
So did I, until that slob smashed it. Have you heard of Professor Ubier?
Of course. His name is synonymous with Mayan art. A number of these artifacts were supplied by Ubier himself.
Do you believe the story that Ubier murdered his wife?
If it was true, who can blame him? He was an opportunist tramp. Well, that's what I heard.
Have you seen any of Ubier's wife's films?
Only one. Believe me, I was appalled, shocked, disgusted, and repulsed.
Well, you sure got your money's worth. Last time I went to the movies, I wasn't even titillated. I suppose you have an import license for these relics?
Of course. But that's not my problem, sir. The professor arranges all the shipping. We simply collect the items from the docks.
Could you tell me which docks Professor Ubier uses to import the artifacts?
Good God, no. I can't possibly reveal my commercial secrets.
Do you get many Central American Indians in here?
No, sir. This is Paris. Central America is several thousand kilometers southwest of here. Straight across the Atlantic Ocean and turn left. You can't miss it.
Well, as it happens, I saw some Central American Indians this very morning.
Tourists, sir. Paris is full of them at this time of year.
I have some questions I'd like to ask about those pots.
The Mexican collection? Certainly, sir.
Where did you get them from?
Mexico, of course. I think, sir, we'll find the price extremely reasonable.
Hey, I'm not interested in buying them.
Oh, I see. In that case, you'll excuse me.
There is a gentleman over there who seems to be enjoying your wine.
I can't think why. It was very cheap.
I found this news story referring to a total eclipse of the sun.
Really, sir? Well, fascinating.
I'd had enough of talking. I didn't think he'd be interested.
I'll try again.
I didn't think he'd be interested. The way that guy was gripping the glass, I'd need a wrench to get away from him. I splashed a little absinthe into the glass and hoped he wouldn't notice the change of color.
Did you put something in my drink?
Yeah, I did. Well, what do you think?
Well, it's certainly an improvement over Gleese's wine. In fact, I could grow to like it.
Okay, have some more.
Allow me. There was nothing in the case but styrofoam packing, but pasted on the side was the remains of a label. Underneath the logo of a flying bird were the words Condor Transglobal Mars. The rest of the label was missing. It was beginning to make sense. Oubier had organized Nico's abduction. Oubier withdrew money from Marseille. Oubier was connected with Transglobal, who shipped their goods from a warehouse in Marseille. That's how the torn Transglobal label had once read. Marseille, not Mars. It wasn't much of a lead, but it was all I had. I set off immediately to catch the evening train.
Okay, that's been Marseille? 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 Yeah.
It was almost dawn when I arrived in Marseille. I traced Condor Transglobal to a desolate dockside. The sign read, rightly enough, no entry. Hi, good morning.
Do you know what time it is?
You know what?
No, I don't wear a watch. As my dad used to say, I'm not into time, man.
Well, you're too early.
What time is it anyhow?
The big hand's on the floor. Why aren't you in bed?
I can explain everything.
Never mind, I ain't that interested.
What time do you open the gates?
7.
Do you mind if I hang out here till the docks open?
Please yourself, but you'll have a long wait. It's Sunday, and tomorrow is the start of a national holiday. Everything is closed for a month.
Well, wouldn't you just know it? Does that dog belong to you?
Nah, he comes with the job. I just feed him every now and then.
More then than now, I'd say. What's the dog's name?
20.
It's unusual for a dog.
It's his registration number. Security dog number 20.
That animal doesn't seem too hot for a guard dog.
No? You haven't seen him in action.
Doesn't look like he has the energy to wag his tail.
Just like my wife. She's like a slug in a coma until she's annoyed. Then, she's like a tiger with a rat up its ass.
Sweet. Ever heard of Condor Transglobal?
Sure. They have a warehouse here.
Well, could I take a look?
Not until after the holidays. Come back in a month.
I have to make a delivery to Condor Transglobal.
Where's your rig?
About half a mile down the road.
And you walked here? Jeez, are you some kind of nut?
It was easy. I just put one foot in front of the other. Are you gonna let me make my delivery?
Not without the paperwork. You get the papers, you make your delivery, and I get a fat backhander.
I was getting nowhere with the story about being a trucker. I'm looking for a young woman.
At the docks? What kind of woman do you have in mind?
You don't understand. It's my girlfriend I'm trying to find.
Well, I ain't seen her, and you should tell her the docks ain't no place for a young lady. They're dirty and they're dangerous.
I'm certain my girlfriend was brought here when she was abducted.
What? Your girl was kidnapped?
Yeah. Struck down by an Indian with a poisoned dart.
A poison dart, huh?
I could tell he didn't believe me. Have you ever heard of Professor Ubier?
Me? None of my friends are professors or anything like that.
I have these very exotic panties.
Take them away, you pervert!
What's cooking?
Beans. You know a man can live on nothing but beans.
Not this one. Don't you ever get tired of eating beans?
Sure I do. What do you take me for?
And what's the alternative?
Peas. I can't eat them too often, though. They play hell with my digestion.
Have you ever considered changing your diet?
What's wrong with beans and beer?
You need me to tell you? You're pumping out enough methane here to fill a dirigible. Take a look at this letter.
Give me that sound.
Did you write it?
Oh, no. No, it's a letter from my girlfriend's admirer.
If I was you, I'd smack him in the mouth.
Well, that's not my style, but thanks for the advice.
Give me a second.
I gotta go now, but I'll be back.
Can't wait.
Hold on, let me turn down this music.
My arms weren't long enough to reach the platform. Hey, 20. The bottle, nothing. The stick had a hook on one end. I figured it was a boat hook. For hooking boats.
Let's try get a bottle first.
I just knew that boat hook would be useful for something. As for the bottle, even if I couldn't find a use for it, I'd cleaned up the dock a little. Ouch! That's hot. The panties would not have been thick enough to shield this level of heat. Hey, 20.
You dropped your beer bottle.
Not me, pal.
Yes, you did. Don't you know better than to dump your trash in the ocean?
I don't see no fish complaining.
This is the dart that the Indians shot at my girlfriend.
Sheesh. That's pretty weird, but I don't see why you'd expect to find her here.
Do you know what kind of business Condor's involved in?
I'm paid to guard the gate. Their business is none of mine.
See you later. Couldn't reach the packet. I don't think so. I couldn't reach the coat. That isn't it at all. I couldn't reach the door without...
No? Okay.
I couldn't reach that far. I couldn't reach the documents. I couldn't reach... No, I had to think of something else.
Okay, we'll go back down.
My arms... The bottle was half filled with water. Maybe it would cool the cone down enough to touch it. Now I could see into the pipe which formed the chimney. That chimney looked very exposed without its cone.
Do I put this one in? No.
The bottle had blocked the chimney, and the hut was filling up with smoke. The packet... I wouldn't have considered... Someone had once told me a piece of coal brought you luck. Who was I to... No. Baked beans in ketchup. The box contained nothing but blank forms. That mug was a health risk. I decided to leave it where it was. No. Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy. My arms weren't long enough to reach the platform. Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy. Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy. I felt a slight twinge of conscience as I prepared to give the dog a dunking. It soon passed.
Sorry, boy.
As I'd expected, the dog could swim like a... well, like a dog. The sign looked as if it was firmly attached to the wall. Anyway, I didn't really want it as a souvenir. I couldn't reach the wheel and couldn't see any point in climbing up to it. I decided not to close jaw. A sturdy chain and padlock hung around the door handles. This sign also looked for... The din must have drowned out the sound of my knocking. The grill opened from the inside. Maybe there was a way in up there. The metal housing prevented me from getting to the fan. I wouldn't have been hurt over the din of the fan. I couldn't reach the blade. If I'd stuck my fingers in there, I'd never be... That did the trick. The fan clunked and shorted out as its blades were mashed by the boat hook.
Hey, you make any more noise, I break your arms.
That bully needed to be taught a lesson.
Garzak's already mad because we didn't get the stone. You give me any trouble, I'll tell him it was all your fault.
Karzak? That must be his boss.
Which one I'm gonna go to?
Who is it?
Pizza delivery?
I didn't order.
No?
I don't like...
Oh, come on. Maybe he was allergic to mozzarella. The grill opened. Hey,
What now?
look.
I told...
Not even...
I hate...
If you know what's good for you, you'll open this door.
What if I don't?
I'll kick your head in.
Okay, I'll come out, you creep.
No. The grill opened.
I'm being a man to do that. I continue.
Who is it?
Is this Condor Transglobal?
Nobody here. Go away.
I'll give you 5 seconds to let me in, or I'll bust down the door.
Okay. I'm coming.
He didn't sound too happy.
Let's see if we can go in.
The only interesting thing I found was a small brass key. Among the paperwork which adorned the notice board was something which caught my eye. It was a delivery note from Condor Transglobal, and the address was Coramonte City. It was locked.
Where'd that brass key? Is there?
The little brass key didn't fit the lock. There was nothing else of any... I'd already searched. All the crates were firmly sealed.
Whoa! Don't shoot!
The little guy had a blowpipe. That confirmed my suspicions about what had happened to Nico. I waited for him to shoot me, but it didn't happen. Instead, he seemed to want to tell me something. What? What do you want? He seemed excited, almost desperate. What did he want so bad? Hi, I'm not going to hurt you.
Coramonte!
Is that where you're from? Coramonte City?
Coramonte! Coramonte!
Okay. What have you done with my girlfriend?
Huh?
I am not leaving without her. Where is she? He didn't appear to understand me. Tell me what you've done with Nico, and I'll share these biscuits with you. I knew it sounded lame, trying to bargain with a box of doggy snacks. Besides, how was he to know how yummy they tasted? This was the dart you used to knock out my girlfriend. If she's come to any harm, I will count you personally responsible.
Lotse kapaitu fnor!
Do you know what this is?
Peitu! Lotse kapaitu! Inyakot lagohino mutu!
Don't know what that is.
What does this key unlock?
Huh?
Hey, you're manacled. Who did this? That big thug? I'm gonna set you free, okay? Hey, come back here! The little guy had gone to ground amongst the stack of crates. All the crates were firmly sealed. I couldn't pry the doors apart with my bare hands. There was usually an easier way to do it. Just in time. Interrupting the beam of light kept the doors from closing and stopped anyone from using the elevator. But what now? There. That would keep the doors from closing. I was wrestling with the small crate when I noticed the label on its side. Danger. Live contents do not drop. No chance. Whatever those crates contained, they were heavy. There wasn't enough room to move the handle. The statue looked way too heavy for me to move. There wasn't much I could do with a pulley that didn't have any rope. The short chain stopped the cuffs reaching from the statue to the winch. A sturdy beam was jammed across the doors. These doors were not going to open. There was no way to open that window. The window was not designed to open. Nothing happened. That was probably because the elevator was already on this floor. There wasn't much I could do with it. There wasn't enough room to move the... I didn't want to risk dropping the crate and releasing its live contents. There was an arc-shaped scratch on the floor, as if a door had been opened in the nearby wall. My fingers traced the outline of a secret door in the wall. Then I found a small round stud, which was set flush to the surrounding wooden paneling. Just as I'd hoped. A secret room. Nico! There. How are you feeling?
Oh, thanks, Georges. How on earth did you find me?
I knew Oubier had been in Marseille. But never mind about me. How about you tell me exactly what's going on, starting with that Mayan stone?
I picked it up from one of Karzak's men in Paris. I was expecting a consignment of narcotics.
Drugs?
Yes. The proof I needed to expose Karzak's smuggling operation. I'd set it up to act as his courier, and once I had the proof, I planned to go straight to Inspector Mou. But instead of the dope I'd expected, they sent me that stone instead. And to find out more, I called Professor Oubier, who invited me to his mansion. At least, I thought it was Oubier.
I don't get it. If Karzak's business is drugs, why is he so desperate to get his hands on that stone?
Maybe it has some significance to the local people in Central America. It could be Karzak's means of getting them to work for him. Anyway, we've got to get out of here.
Nico, wait!
Open up this. And this.
I decided to keep the masking tape. It was bound to be of some use to me. We can't use the elevator. If that thug Pablo's recovered, he'll be waiting for us.
We've got to do something. Where does that door lead to?
I'm not sure.
Yeah?
It would be much easier to attach the rope to
Yeah,
the
you can
statue
do, yeah.
first. It would be much easier to attach the rope to the statue first.
Oh, yes.
There wasn't much I could do with a pulley that didn't have any rope. The rope wasn't long enough to reach the pulley.
How about you, handcuffs?
The short chain stopped the cuffs reaching from the statue to the winch.
Speak to her. No, no, no. Speak.
Okay, tell me what you know about Condor.
Condor Transglobal exports Aztec and Mayan relics from Central America to Europe. But that's just a cover for the real business. Drug smuggling.
What proof do you have?
Nothing yet.
Do you know where Condor is based?
In Central America. A place called Quaramonte.
I saw that name on a docket downstairs. Tell me about this Karzak guy.
Well, I saw him for only a few minutes, but he frightened me. I got the impression that Pablo was nervous when he was around too. His eyes. They're like a wild animal's. Like a tiger. That's what scared me most about him. He looked so unpredictable and dangerous.
Did you know Ubier's wife was a film star?
No, I didn't know he was married. What happened to her?
She died. In mysterious circumstances, apparently.
How mysterious?
I heard she was murdered. Possibly by Ubier himself.
A murderer, huh? André said he was something of a celebrity.
Did I hear you refer to Inspector Moo?
Yes, you remember him?
Well, of course I do. But I thought he was dead.
Oh no, he reappeared after the broken sword case had blown over. When he found out who was in with the Neo-Templars, he went into hiding. Moo knew more than was good for him.
Does he know about our involvement with the case?
If he does, he's not telling. Still, he got a sudden promotion.
Did that Indian guy mistreat you?
If you forget about the abduction, verbal threats, and bondage, no.
Well, what about the little guy?
I don't think he knows where he is or what he's doing here. The big guy, Pablo, he brought Titipoco from the jungle.
Titty what?
Titipoco. That's what I heard Pablo call the dwarf.
Do you recognize this?
Is that the dart which knocked me out?
That's right. I kept it as a souvenir. Have you any idea who this little statue is supposed to be?
I'm not very well acquainted with Mayan deities, Georges. But whatever his name, he sure is ugly.
Oh, sorry about that.
I found these in your bag.
Oh, they were a gift.
I know. I read the note.
God knows what was going through Andre's mind.
I think that's quite plain enough. Look, the little guy downstairs was chained up with these.
That must have been Pablo's doing. I don't blame him, though. That little guy is dangerous.
You're still sore about that poison dart?
Of course I'm sore.
And that's it.
I didn't want to risk dropping the crate and releasing its live contents.
You're getting close to my bloody phone.
Probably you want to watch something.
What? You like that?
Hopefully, the tape would prevent those doors from closing and stop the Indian from being able to call the elevator.
Yeah?
The pallet rose about 6 inches off the floor, and I said a silent prayer to whoever had discovered the power of hydraulics.
What on earth are you doing?
Trying to raise the statue so I can hook it to that pulley.
Is that really going to help us?
I like to keep myself occupied in times of stress. It was too heavy for me to move on my own. Could you give me a hand to push this statue?
What for?
This, my dear, is our passport to freedom.
If you say so, dear.
Okay, push! Great teamwork.
Nice to be working with you again, Mr. Stobart.
I thought about hanging from the cable with my bare hands, but it was too far to the other end of the cable to escape that way.
Can we try that one?
Nope. Nico, I have a great idea.
Back to Paris.
George, where have you been?
Never mind that. Do you have the Mayan stone?
Maybe I have, but,
Don't argue, André. Give the stone to George.
well, of course. If you say so, Nicole.
Thank you so much, André.
George, he told me you'd been kidnapped, my dear. I'm glad to see he was mistaken.
Oh, but it was true. If it hadn't been for George, I wouldn't be here now.
It's not finished yet. Karzak's thugs will be back for that stone, you can bet. The best lead that we have is Coromonte City.
Coromonte is in Central America. That's where Aubier gets his artifacts.
That's all we needed to know. Come on, George.
Few days later.
Quaramonte, the traveler's rear entrance to Central America. Well, that's how it's translated in the brochure. We didn't know what we were looking for, but the offices of Condor Transglobal seemed a good place to start.
Hey, it's market day. I don't see any cabs. Let's ask someone how to get to Quaramonte City.
Okay. Keep your eyes peeled for any sign of Condor Transglobal.
Okay, we can't.
Hi.
You wanna buy something?
No, not really.
I got cabbages. Buy a cabbage, senor.
I don't think so. I didn't come all this way to buy vegetables. Listen, have you heard of Condor Transglobal?
No. Buy a cabbage. I'll give you a discount on bulk purchases.
I'm not into cabbages. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Aye, Tezcatlipoca. Put it away, senor. Tezcatlipoca brings nothing but evil.
The poor guy was so freaked, he didn't even mention his cabbages.
See ya.
I don't want over there. Anything?
Hi there.
Oh.
What have you got for sale?
¿Qué?
I said, what have you got? Oh, never mind. Hi. Lovely bread.
¿Qué?
Bread. Pan?
Si, pan.
Maybe I'll come back later when I'm hungry. Those things are gourds, aren't they?
Si.
Hey! Mind the footwear, lady. Inside the hut was a chair and a small table.
I'll speak to the guard.
Welcome to Quaramonte.
Thanks. Can we get a cab to the capital?
This is the capital, Quaramonte City.
When's the next ship out of here?
But senor, don't you like our beautiful country?
Oh, yeah. It's like a little piece of paradise right here on Earth.
Then why you wanna leave?
I'm just plain homesick. Like it says in the song.
A word of warning, senor. If you feel like bursting into song, bite your tongue.
Huh?
There are official restrictions on music in Quaramonte.
How come music is restricted in Quaramonte?
It is part of the great cultural enrichment campaign. Traditional Quaramonte music is considered unsuitable for these fast-moving times. Nuestra Señora has decreed that only one category of music is suitable.
What's that?
Easy listening.
We've had enough. We're...
Okay.
Huh?
The official
I got my way to Scavia. Poster.
In Quaramonte, defacing a poster was probably a capital offense. Hey, cheer up, guys. What's with the long faces?
Our pipe player has been arrested and thrown in jail.
Poor Miguel. He never broke the law in his life.
Why was Miguel put in jail?
For playing folk music.
What?
It's true, senor. He insisted on playing traditional Quaramonte music, even though it's illegal.
Why don't you try playing a tune to cheer yourselves up?
No, we should be looking for real jobs.
We could earn 10 times as much down the mines. My cousin Ramirez was earning 8 pesos an hour.
Before he lost his legs in the accident.
Have you seen anything like...
I, the hungry chief.
Why are you carrying that thing around with you, senor? Don't you know who it is?
Sure, it's Tezcatlipoca. But it's only a little carving.
It brings death, senor. Death and destruction.
Tell me about the accident at the mine.
There was an explosion at Teoculcan. 30 miners were buried alive.
They got some of them out, though.
2 of them, including your cousin, and they left half of him behind.
Have you any idea what this is?
No, senor.
Me neither.
Okay.
Do you guys know anything about a total eclipse?
What is it?
It's like when the sun is hidden by the moon.
He's crazy.
My cousin Alfredo swears he saw it happen once. But that was after he stupidly consumed a cocktail of peyote and antibiotics.
Do you have crabs?
No, only fish.
Nice fish.
Thanks.
If, by some remote chance, I ever need a fish, I'll be back. Do you recognize this statue?
Si, senor. It is very, very bad luck. That is Tezcatlipoca, the Night Hunter.
I know, but I don't believe in luck, good or bad.
You may not now, but you will.
The guy looked scared out of his wits.
Go away.
George Stobart, well, of all the...
Mrs. Henderson. Boy, this is some coincidence, huh?
When you've been married to a fruitcake like Dwayne as long as I have, you stop believing in coincidence.
I'd met Pearl and Dwayne on the other side of the globe in Syria. He was an Army veteran who suspected he was working for the CIA, but wasn't sure. She was less obviously deranged. Is Dwayne here with you, Mrs. Henderson?
Why, sure, I couldn't leave him home alone. Since Dwayne came back from the war, we couldn't bear to be apart.
So, where is he now?
We ain't speaking.
Why aren't you speaking to Dwayne?
Because he's an old spoiled sport sourpuss. I want to visit one of those old pyramid places, but Dwayne says he has to stay in town.
Right. And you don't want to go on your own?
Well, there's no point in going to the pyramid if there's no one around to take my picture.
Is Dwayne still working for the CIA?
If he is, he doesn't know it. He's what they call a snoozer.
Don't you mean a sleeper?
No, this is different. He used to think he worked for them, but the psychotherapy cured him of that. What he doesn't realize is that now he really does work for them. At least that's the way I understood it.
What brings you to Quaramonte, Pearl?
What takes me just about anywheres. The market.
You drove 2,000 miles to go shopping?
Shopping is my role in the economy of the Great Design, George.
What do you make of this stone, Pearl?
Oh, that's pretty. What's that thing supposed to be, a rabbit?
I believe it's a coyote.
Well, it sure is cute.
I was surprised she didn't ask me where she could buy one. What do you make of this statue?
Hoo-wee, that's a spitting image of Dwayne's brother Sheridan. A little less body hair, maybe, but it's him all right.
Catch you later, Pearl.
Okay, we'll find... Hi, that's a yes. Stay still.
Labano tells me he's been seeing a lot of you.
We meet sometimes for lunch, a drink. After you'd gone back to the States, I was pretty lonely, you know.
Lonely? You must have been desperate. Couldn't you just visit the zoo or something? Do you have any theories about this stone?
I think that design represents a dog, a Mexican dog.
So, this is the sacred Chihuahua stone? Sheesh. Take a look at this.
Mon Dieu! Where did you get that kind of money?
It's not mine. I found that statement at Ubier's house. Take a look at this.
An eclipse of the sun. Why the sudden interest in astronomy?
I found the cutting in Ubier's house.
Apparently, it's only visible from Central America.
Hey, Nico!
Nico, that's her name.
Hola, señora.
Hi. We were wondering...
I was talking to the lady, Chico.
Hi, my name is Nicole Collard.
Concha Garcia. How can I help you, sister?
The corporation I represent is considering a major investment in Quaramonte. Your advice, as the head of an obviously successful concern, is precisely what I'm after. My assistant, Mr. Stobart, has a few questions he'd like to ask you.
Have you heard of a man named Karzak?
No? Who is he?
He's the reason we came to Quaramonte. We think he's running a drug ring.
Well, I hope you find him, but I've never heard the name before.
Can you tell me about the accident at the mine?
Accident? It was sabotage. Somebody wanted my mine closed down for good.
Do you have any evidence that the mine was sabotaged?
Not yet, but I'll get to the bottom of it. There'd been trouble at that mine for several months. The workforce was getting smaller every day. Someone had started a rumor among the men that the mine was cursed. Now the entire operation has been closed down.
Where's the site of the mine?
Several days upriver at a remote area known as Teoculcan.
Does this stone mean anything to you?
I think it is a spirit stone carved by a Mayan priest, no? I don't know which of their many gods it represents.
I can do it. Yeah.
Can you tell me anything about this statue?
It is Tezcatlipoca, the god of death and pestilence. That fetish would be considered by many to be a bad omen.
Do you recognize the icon on this label?
Condor Transglobal.
Did the company operate here in Quaramonte?
Yes, they ran an old container ship, the Mayan Princess.
Do you know who owned Condor Transglobal?
I've no idea.
Have you heard about the forthcoming eclipse?
I don't take much interest in things like that. One of the boys might know about it.
Yeah, leave them free.
Hi.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Consolidated Mining. If you are planning to stay in Quaramonte City, may I recommend the Consolidated Mining Experience, an interactive hands-on tour of one of our deepest mines, with talking tour guides available in 3 different languages.
A tour of a mine.
Well, this is a mining company. What else did you expect?
Do you know anything about the eclipse that's due soon?
Me? No, senor.
Do you know where I could find Senor Karzak?
No, senor.
Keep out of there. That's where the explosives are stored.
Would you like a dog biscuit?
Would you like a smack in the mouth, Chico?
You see this? It's my lucky piece of coal.
What's so lucky about it?
I'm not sure yet. Would you be interested in these panties? They look about your size.
Is that your best line, Chico?
I'm serious. They were an unwanted gift.
Put them away before you get overexcited.
And that's it. No.
There was nothing else I wanted to ask the guy. It was one of Conchita's posse of hunks.
Hey, Nico!
I have done just as I have been instructed, Professor. With the mine closed down, there'll be no one around to observe your excavations. Ah, I have visitors.
Just remember what I told you, General. There's really no need to make a martyr out of that man.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Senor. Welcome to Quarmonte.
Thanks. My name's George Stobart from California.
But what is this? An angel come down to earth.
Nicole Collard. Enchanté, mon général.
Pardon me,
You did not,
Senorita,
okay?
but I couldn't help myself.
Look, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
You've come to the right place, Senor. Tourist information. General Graciento, at your service.
This is the tourist office? It says police on the sign outside.
It is both, Senor. I am a man of many parts.
I can see that, General.
Have you heard of a guy called Karzak?
No. No, I never heard of him.
I hear there was an accident at the mine a few months ago.
That's correct.
A lot of men killed, weren't there?
A few.
30?
Barely 1% of the working population.
Is it true there's a restriction on music in Quarmonte?
Yes, there is. An emergency measure introduced by Nuestra Senora.
Folk music is a link with the past for some of these people. Take away their musical roots and what do they got left?
Easy listening.
You think easy listening could replace a musical heritage hundreds of years old?
Why not? It happened in your country.
Are there any ruins around the city?
Of course, Signor. Quarmonte has everything.
I have a friend who wants to visit an historical site.
Ronaldo will only be too pleased to conduct a guided tour, when he's dealt with today's paperwork, of course.
Who was the guy you were talking to when we arrived?
Professor Ubier, a visitor, Signor, like yourselves.
Did you say Ubier?
Si, Signor. Professor Ubier, a French archaeologist.
What's Ubier doing in Quarmonte?
Researching our rich and glorious past, Signor. The professor is planning an expedition to some Mayan ruins. He came to see me to get an excavation permit.
We've had enough of Quarmonte.
Am I stopping you?
The guy at the docks tells me I need an exit visa.
Ask Ronaldo. He'll make the arrangements. That's what he's here for.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
That's a native carving, isn't it? Where did you get it?
We picked it up in the market, as a souvenir.
Take a look at this
Si, senor. Condor Transglobal.
Can you tell me where to find their offices?
No, senor.
The lady...
Conchita.
Do you know anything about the forthcoming eclipse, General?
Such things do not interest me, senor.
Are you sure you never heard of Condor?
Oh, yes.
The company is registered here in Quaramonte City.
You are mistaken, senorita.
Condor is run by Karzak, isn't it?
Wrong again, senor. Karzak has nothing to do with anything called Condor. Whoever he is.
Do you keep a record of companies registered in Quaramonte?
Of course, senorita. Unfortunately, all the records were destroyed by a flash flood.
I'll be back.
And let's get out. Let's get out.
I wasn't going to try invest... Hi, I'm George Stobart.
Hello, senor. How can I help
you?
Are there any ancient pyramids near Quaramonte?
Si, senor. But it's not very impressive. It's in ruins.
That's perfect. Would you be willing to give a guided tour of the ruins?
I can't. The General would have a fit if I left all this paperwork.
Paperwork.
I'm trying to get out of Quaramonte.
If I had...
Never mind.
We don't take...
I didn't ask if you take a visa. I want you to give me a visa.
I can't help you, senor. I don't understand these things.
Do you recognize this statue?
Tezcatlipoca. The night wind. Take it away, senor. That stone is cursed.
You know anything about this eclipse?
No, senor. El General keeps me in the dark about most things.
Would you like a gourmet dog snack biscuit?
I would love one, senor. But I would have a problem with my teeth.
Toothache?
No, senor. If the General catches me eating on duty, he'll knock them out.
So long. I had no need for junk mail, especially someone else's. Would you like a biscuit?
Are you trying to bribe me?
Well, every man has his price.
Mine is more than a dog cookie, Senor Stobart.
What do you think of these panties, General?
Oh boy, fabuloso!
They're yours if you'll tell me all you know about Karzak.
I told you, I never heard of the guy. Do I get the panties now? I told you all I know.
You told me nothing.
I'll be back.
I think I better check that out.
Why did you show him the stone?
I thought maybe he might know something about it.
Well, he does now, for sure. He knows we have it.
You came on a little strong with the General.
I was merely flattering his ego, Georges. Every man has his Achilles heel.
Maybe. But that guy's weakness isn't in his foot. That man we saw talking to the General was Ubier. Didn't you recognize him?
I never met him, remember? The guy I called in Paris claimed to be Ubier, but he sounded nothing like the man in the police station. Maybe the professor really is innocent.
Nah. It's too much of a coincidence that he's here in Quaramonte. Would you like a biscuit?
Gourmet dog? Have you been eating those things, Georges?
Sure, they're great. Guess what this is? Go on, guess.
It's wrought iron, probably from a chimney stack on an old stove.
Well, I suppose it could be. How did she know that?
My grandfather used to work in a foundry.
Take a look at this, Nico.
That's disgusting, Georges. Why are you carrying it around with you?
I don't know. I just can't seem to part with it.
And let's see.
Professor Ubier?
Yes? Who are you?
My name is Stobart. George Stobart.
I thought that face was familiar. Remember me,
There
George?
he is.
Dwayne Henderson.
Hi, Dwayne. Just a moment. I have a few questions to ask the professor here. Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Yes, I know him. In fact, if it wasn't for Kazak, I wouldn't be here.
What?
He's financing my expedition.
Tell me about your wife, Professor.
Please, I don't want to talk about her.
Maybe you don't, but I do. Why was she known as the Little Dachshund?
It was just a silly pet name I used to call her. Somehow some damned reporter found out.
What do you know about my girlfriend's abduction?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She was invited to your mansion in Paris.
Not by me, she wasn't. I haven't been home for nearly 7 months.
Have you ever employed a Central American butler or servant?
I've never employed any kind of servant, monsieur.
Can you tell me anything about this stone?
Where did you get that?
That's my business.
How much do you want for it?
It's not for sale. Can you identify this statue, Professor?
Oh, yes. Tezcatlipoca, the Lord of Darkness.
A Central American god, right?
A supreme deity. Tezcatlipoca means, literally, smoking mirror. There. You see the mirror shield in his left hand? The Mayans believed he could look into the mirror and see into the hearts of men. He was the wind which came howling in the night in search of victims. And victims they gave him by the thousand.
Human sacrifices?
Men, women, children, animals, anything that bled. The steps of his temple ran red with the blood of sacrifices. The Mayans have a legend that says he'll return one day. I hope I'm not around to see it.
Do you see this label?
Yes. It refers to a company named Condor. What of it?
I traced that company here to Quaramonte. Do you know where I can find the offices of Condor Transglobal?
The company no longer exists. They went bankrupt recently.
I have proof that you are directly involved with Condor.
I used them as shippers to transport artifacts to a gallery in Paris. Beyond that, I have no connection with the company, which, as I said, no longer exists.
So much hair. Say hello to the Lux Glow UV Pet Groomer. Just keep my home hair free. It's amazing because it kills blood-sucking insects like ticks, fleas, and lice. It's so easy to use, and one charge lasts me.
You can get it on eBay or Amazon. Hey. Okay. I done you lot. Give me a second. You want chip chip? Gonna be recording. Yeah? Yeah, just looking at it now. But trying to find one. There it is. And I still realize how much is on eBay. Yeah, I found on Amazon 11.39. On eBay is 11.95. Free.
Which is yours? That one? Do
Yeah.
you get the next day? Is it nearer than that? That's what I'm trying to say.
12 to 18th of July. And this is nearest.
Good for that.
28th of June to
Yeah.
2nd July.
Yeah, good for it. Hey, Eric, got me back details of it. Alright.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm another bird.
No? Which colour? Dark green, light green, grey.
Right.
I don't you lot. I'll be on my way. Mark that red. Give it that. There you go. It's be on way 2nd July. Okay.
Do you know anything about this eclipse, Professor?
Of course. It's not the reason I'm here in Quaramonte, but I'm looking forward to seeing it all the same.
Take a look at this, Professor. What have you got to say about that?
Where did you get this?
Never mind that. How do you explain these withdrawals?
I left my financial affairs in the hands of my secretary.
Including the withdrawal of funds in cash from your personal account?
I trust Gwyneth implicitly.
And why Marseille? Why the very place my girlfriend was taken?
That's obvious, Stobart. We are both the victims of the same devious plot.
What plot?
I have no idea.
What's your interest in the eclipse, Professor?
Oh, it's purely a layman's curiosity. History is my subject, not astronomy. But I've been fascinated by the movements of the heavenly bodies since I was a child. I wouldn't miss a total eclipse for the world.
Does the eclipse have some special significance for you?
For me? No. For the ancient Mayans, it marked the end of the Fifth Age.
Perhaps we should be celebrating.
Ah, no. The end of each age heralds destruction on a global scale. The fifth is the final age, ending in the total destruction of the Earth.
Are you still working for... you know who?
Who's that, George? You know I'm retired.
Oh, nothing. Forget it. I confused you with somebody else.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Do you think the general was involved with Condor?
Hell no. And if he's a general, I'm a Buddhist. No, that fella's just a mouthpiece for the real power in Quaramonte.
Who's that?
So the general is nothing but a puppet?
He's like Pinocchio before he met the Blue Rinse Fairy. Strictly strings and wood.
Who's pulling the strings?
His mother. Better known as La Presidenta, the dictator.
Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Sounds like a comic book villain to me, son.
He's the man behind Condor, and the rat who kidnapped Nico.
You know, the first time I met you, I was deeply impressed with your naive simplicity. I said to Pearl, if we ever had kids, I would have wanted a boy like George. But I underestimated.
Did you know that traditional music is illegal in Caramonte?
Is that so? Seems reasonable to me.
No, really. The leader of the band in the square has been imprisoned just because of the music he played.
I don't know who you've been talking to, but that fella, Miguel, he's an agitator.
What's the real reason the musician was imprisoned?
Handed out subversive literature at the mines. That so-called general was waiting for Miguel when he got back into town. Marched him off to jail at gunpoint on a charge of inciting a riot.
I spoke to Pearl earlier.
Yeah? Did she mention that we had a kind of falling out?
Yes, she did.
She'll get over it.
That's quid. Oh.
Did you drive all the way down here?
Hell no. Pearl did the driving while I followed the maps. The way she handled the wheel, you'd think she'd been trucking half her life.
What's in the truck, Dwayne?
Oh, just camping equipment. Sleeping bags and tents. Me and Pearl always hankered after a taste of the great outdoors.
Aren't you worried about camping out in a tropical jungle?
We had a trial run in West Virginia. This'll be a breeze in comparison.
Would you like a biscuit, Dwayne?
Oh, no.
You've tried?
They were on when I asked her.
Do you know anything?
I never heard of it, son.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay, I'm gonna stop it here. Don't forget to hit that like and yeah, there you go. And I'll see you next time. Bye.